Martin moved into the Silence Tower apartments on a rainy Thursday. The realtor flashed an oily smile and patted the wall. Perfect soundproofing. You won't hear your neighbors, they won't hear you. Behind these walls, you could scream, play the trombone, anything. Martin liked that. He was tired of the noise of his previous life. The thunder of someone else's music, the patter of children's feet overhead, the quarrels through thin walls. Here, on the 14th floor, reigned a tomb-like silence. He worked as an editor, and silence wasn't a luxury for him. It was a working tool. The first note arrived a week later. A scrap of yellowish paper slipped under the door, neat handwriting in ink pen. Please be quieter. You're waking me. 12B. Martin frowned. He was certain he hadn't made a sound. That evening he'd been reading, then fallen asleep in front of the TV with the volume off. He chalked it up to a mistake. Maybe the note was meant for someone else. He threw it away. The second came 3 days later. Please keep quiet after 10. I sleep poorly. 12B. Martin felt irritation rising. He never heard anyone through the walls. No one at all. The building seemed dead. He decided to check. Apartment 12B was directly above him. He went up a floor. The door had no name, no doorbell. He knocked. Silence. He knocked harder. In response, dead silence. An elderly neighbor, a frightened-looking man, peeked out at the sound. Do you know who lives there? Martin asked. No one lives there. 5 years now. Banker Hogarth's apartment. He died. Heirs are fighting over it. It's been empty. A chill ran down Martin's spine. He returned to his apartment. Maybe it was someone's stupid joke, or the realtor had hidden something. The third note was waiting on his kitchen table. Martin froze. He distinctly remembered checking all the locks before leaving. No one could have entered. The paper lay there, a neatly folded square, the same yellowish sheet, the same ink. Silence is the rule. You keep breaking it. You walk at night. You knock. You wake the dead. 12B. Martin's hand trembled as he picked up the note. He went through the entire apartment, checked every window, peered into every closet. Nothing. The silence pressed on his ears, became physically tangible, thick as syrup. From that day, the silence changed. It was no longer the absence of sound. It became a thing. Sometimes Martin thought he could hear faint breathing within it, a barely perceptible rhythm, as if a giant heart beat somewhere inside the walls. He began hearing creaks in his own apartment, soft sounds, as though someone was carefully moving furniture on the floor above. But the floor above was empty. He grew afraid to sleep. He'd wake in the night with the sensation that someone stood by his bed, watching. The silence hung in the air like a heavy, hostile blanket. The fourth note appeared in his refrigerator, on the egg shelf. You don't know how to be quiet. Your thoughts are too loud. Stop thinking about us. 12B. He cried out in terror. His own voice sounded muffled, as if swallowed by cotton. He called the management company. They politely informed him that no one was registered at 12B. Utilities hadn't been paid for 5 years. The door had been forced open a year ago at the heir's request. The apartment was empty. Nothing but dust and cobwebs. Martin started drinking. Whiskey dulled the fear. One night, half delirious, he grabbed a hammer and began pounding on the ceiling. Thump, thump, thump. You hear me? I'm here! He shouted. The blows seemed soundless. absorbed. The next morning, a note lay on his pillow. "Don't knock. You've woken the wrong one. Now he's hungry. 12B." Martin's nerves gave out. He bought motion sensor cameras, installed them throughout the apartment. The cameras showed empty rooms, only himself, pacing in the silence. The notes kept appearing. In the book he was reading, in his coat pocket, in his toothbrush glass. The same handwriting, the same signature. Silence is not just the absence of sound. It's a door, and you've left it slightly open. He's grown accustomed to your footsteps. He waits for them every night. He's come down a floor. He's very close now. Martin grew thin, his eyes sunken. He stopped going outside, ate only canned food, feared running the water. The sound seemed blasphemous. The world shrank to the dimensions of his cursed, perfectly insulated box. And then he understood. He hadn't been breaking the rule of silence. The silence itself was a living thing that inhabited these walls. And it was hungry. The apartment above hadn't been empty for 5 years. It was empty because something had moved in there. Something that hated sound. Something that fed on silence, and on those who violated it. Banker Hogarth had probably received his first note too, and he probably hadn't listened. The realization came with chilling clarity. The notes weren't trying to reason with him. They were part of the ritual. Warnings the creature itself was obliged to give before beginning the hunt. To make it fair. He found the last note in the morning, scratched into the fogged bathroom mirror, not in ink, but in something dark and viscous. "The rule of silence is yours now. You become the keeper, or the meal. The choice is yours. Welcome to 12B." Martin raised his head and looked at the ceiling. In the perfect, crushing, living silence, he heard a very distinct sound. A floorboard creaking, directly above him. And then, soft, moist footsteps, slowly moving toward the door of the upstairs apartment. The footsteps stopped. There was a pause, so heavy with terror that Martin forgot to breathe. And then, in his own apartment, behind him, a door lock clicked softly. Martin didn't turn around. He knew that the rule of silence now applied to him too. And he would have to ensure it was observed for the new resident, or for whatever would come to replace him. He rose slowly to meet his visitor. And in his head, loudly and obsessively, despite every rule, one question hammered away. Who would be receiving his notes now?